Hello my dear students, I warmly welcome you to CR's digital classes. In this video, we are going to see the introduction of our topic, partnership. So let us go. So basically partnership is nothing but a division of profits between two or more partners. So whenever we are starting a business with two or more members, we call them as partners, and whenever there is a division between the profit earned by the business, then we consider it as partnership. So in partnership there is only one formula, so which is, so we can remember it as SIT, S-I-T. So S, I and T, where S is share ratio. S is what? Share ratio. I means investment and T means time. So S represents share ratio, I represents investment, T represents time. So from this I can write that profit sharing ratio. I can write sharing ratio as profit sharing ratio. Profit sharing ratio is equals to, if I want profit sharing ratio, what I have to do? I have to simply close the S value. So if I keep a finger on this S, I am left with two values which are I, T. So I multiplied by T. So profit sharing ratio is equals to investment into time. So how can we find profit sharing ratio? Profit sharing ratio is nothing but investment multiplied by time. In the same way, if I want to find the I value or investment ratio, investment value, so I have to keep a finger or close the I value. Then I'm left with S by T. So investment is equals to sharing ratio divided by time. In the same way, T is equals to sharing ratio by investment. So these are all the formulas in partnership. So let us start our questions. Okay. Now our first question says investments of A and B in a business are rupees 10,000 and 5,000 respectively. If the profit received at the end of the year is 30,000. So they are receiving a profit of how much? They are getting a profit of 30,000 rupees, and the investments of A and B are given as 10,000 and 15,000. So let us write the investments of A and B are as follows. So the investment of A is 10,000 rupees and the investment of B is 5,000 rupees. Now in this particular question, they have not mentioned the time periods of A and B. So we can simply consider that A and B are starting the business and staying in the business till the end. So this business has lasted for an year. So we are calculating the profit at the end of the year. So A and B have stayed in the business for an entire year. So the time periods of A and B are, so time periods of A and B are 12 months and 12 months respectively. Okay. Now we have to find the profit sharing ratio. So we know that profit sharing ratio is equals to investment multiplied by, so investment into time gives me profit sharing ratio. So here A's investment is 10,000 and time period is 12 months. In the same way, B's investment is 5,000, time period is 12 months. Okay, so here 12 and 12 gets cancelled, 3 zeros gets cancelled, 5 ones are 5 2. So the profit sharing ratio of A and B is 2:1. So profit sharing ratio of A and B is what? 2:1. Now what I have to find? I have to find the shares or profits of A and B respectively. So if I want to find the profit or share of A, so we can find A's share as follows. So A's share can be find through A's share is equals to the ratio of A or A's ratio, the ratio which A is getting divided by total ratio into total profit multiplied by total profit. So here A is getting how many ratios? A is getting 2 ratios and the total ratio here is 2 plus 1, which is 3. So A's ratio is 2 and the total ratio is 3. So 2 by 3 multiplied by total profit is how much? Total profit here is 30,000. So after solving this, I am getting the value of A or the profit of A as 20,000. In the same way, I can find B's share. So here the B's share will be 10,000 because we have a profit of 30,000. If A is getting 20,000, then B should get 10,000. So we can find it like this, or we can also do this with a simpler way, which says, so how many ratios are here? So there are 2 plus 1, 3 ratios. So there are how many ratios? 3 ratios. So 3 ratios represent our total profit is 30,000. So if 3 ratios represent 30,000, then 1 ratio is what? 1 ratio is simply 10,000, which is 30,000 by 3. So if 1 ratio is 10,000, then 2 ratios are 20,000. So here A is getting how many ratios? So A is getting 2 ratios and B is getting 1 ratio. So this is the profit of A and this is the profit of B. You can use this particular method, or you can also use this method. Whichever method is convenient for you, you can use that particular method. Okay. Now coming to the next question, which says investments of A and B in a business are rupees 8,000 and 12,000 respectively. So let us write investments of A and B are 8,000 and 12,000 respectively, and if the profit received at the end of the year is 15,000. So here the time periods is not given, so we have to consider that A and B have stayed in the business for an entire year. So the time periods for A and B are 12 months and 12 months respectively. So the profit sharing ratio becomes what? Which is 8,000 multiplied by 12 ratio 12,000 multiplied by 12. So 12 and 12 gets cancelled, and 3 zeros gets cancelled. So I'm left with a ratio of 8 ratio 12, which can be written as 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 12. So the profit sharing ratio is 2 ratio 3. So when I am solving this, I have observed a simple pattern here. So observe here, when time periods are same, so whenever the time period is given as same, then we do not have to write the time factor here because they are getting cancelled. So you can note a point here. So whenever the time factor, whenever the time period is same, there is no need to write the time. Okay. So we can simply write. And one more point I have observed, which is whenever I am having a zeros or equal values in the profits or in the investment, sorry, in the investments, when I'm having equal zeros, they are getting cancelled. So here 3 zeros, here also 3 zeros, in below they are getting cancelled. So whenever I start the question, I simply will cancel these zeros in first itself. Okay. Now, so the profit sharing ratio is how much here? 2 ratio 3. Now the total ratio, the total profit here is 15,000. So the 15,000 is our total profit. Our total ratio is how much? Our total ratio is 5 ratio. So if 5 ratios is equals to 15,000, then 1 ratio is equals to 3,000. If 1 ratio is 3,000, then the values of A, the value of A is 2 ratios and the value of B is 3 ratios. So 2 into 3,000, because 1 ratio is 3,000 and 3 into 3,000. So 2 3s are 6,000 and 9,000. So these are the profits of A and B. Okay. Now here the answers of A and B, or the shares of A and B, are 6,000 and 9,000. But in our question, what he has asked for the share of B. The share of B is 9,000. Okay. Now coming to the next question. A, B, C invested 12,000, 30,000 and 40,000 respectively. So let us write investments of A, B, C. So A has invested how much? 12,000. B has invested 30,000 and C has invested 40,000. So after writing this, I can simply cancel the zeros here itself because they are going to get cancelled in the below. Now coming to the next one, which is time period. So let us see if the time period has been given. No, the time period has not been given. So we have to consider that A, B, C have started the business and they have stayed in the business for an entire year. So whenever I have said that whenever the time period is same, there is no need to write the time factor. So here the time factor is not to be written. So if we write also, what happens? 12, 12, 12. They all will be get cancelled. So our ratio is what? Our profit sharing ratio is 12 ratio 30 ratio 40. So 12, 30, 40. Let us solve this. Okay. 2 6 are 12, 2 15 are 30, 2 20 are 40. So our profit sharing ratio is 6 ratio 15 ratio 20. Okay. Now, so here at the end of the year they have received a profit of 40,000. Let us take this as 41,000. So they have received a profit of 41,000. If they have received a profit of 41,000, then find the difference between, we have to find the difference between the shares of A and C. So our total ratio is how much? 15 plus 6 is 21. 21 plus 20 is 41. So we are getting 41 ratios. So if 41 ratio is equals to our total profit is how much? 41,000. So if 41 ratios is equals to 41,000, then 1 ratio will become how much? 1 ratio will become 1,000. 1 ratio will become 1,000. So what we have to find? We have to find the difference between A and C. So now the difference between the A and C. So C is getting 20 ratios and A is getting how many ratios? 6 ratios. 20 minus 6 is 14. Now we have to find the value of 14 ratios. If 1 ratio is 1,000, then 14 ratios will be 14,000. So our answer is what? 14,000. You can also solve this by using that particular formula which I said, which is, now the difference is how many ratios? Difference ratio divided by total ratio into total profit. You can also apply this particular. Okay. Now coming to the next question. Here A invested 10,000 for 4 months. So here time factor is also given, and B invested 12,000 for 5 months. If the profit at the end of the year is 30,000, so find the difference between A, B and A. So we have to find the difference between the shares of B and A. So here the investment and the time factor. So the investment of A is how much? 10,000, and the investment of B is how much? 12,000. After seeing this, I will be cancelling these 3 zeros ahead itself. Then the time period, the A invested for 4 months. Then the time at which B invested, or how many months did B invest? He has invested for 5 months. So profit sharing ratio is equals to 10 into 4 ratio 12 multiplied by 5. Okay, 4 ones are 4, 3s are 12, 5 ones are 5 2s are. So our profit sharing ratio is 2 ratio 3. Now what we have to find? We have to find the difference between B and A. So the difference between B and A is 1 ratio. Now the total ratio is 5 ratios. If 5 ratio is equals to 30,000, then 1 ratio is how much? 1 ratio is 6,000. We have to find the 1 ratio value. So our answer is 6,000. Okay. So first question says investments of A and B in a business is rupees 10,000 and 15,000 respectively after 6 months. So here look, after 6 months B left the business. So B is staying in the business for how many months? So here simply B is staying in the business for only 6 months, and at the end of the year they received a profit of 28,000. Now what we have to find? We have to find the shares of A and B. So let us see. Here the investments of A and B are 10,000 and 15,000. So here 3 zeros common, that's why I am cancelling. Then time period. So here the time period of B has been given because B is leaving after 6 months. So he is staying in the business for how many months? He is staying in the business for only 6 months. Now here there is no data given regarding A because A is staying in the business for an entire year. So this is 12. Okay. Now profit sharing ratio is equals to 10 multiplied by 12 ratio 15 multiplied by 6. 6 ones, 6 twos, 5 threes 15, 5 twos 10. So the profit sharing ratio is 4 ratio 3. 4 ratio 3. Now they have received a profit of 28,000 at the end of the year. Now the total ratios here are 7 ratios. So 7 ratio is given as 28,000. Then 1 ratio is 7, 4s are 20. So 4,000. So 1 ratio is 4,000. Now what we have to find? We have to find the difference between, or we have to find the shares of A and B. We have to find what shares of A and B. So the share of A is 4 ratio and share of B is 3 ratio. What I have to do? I have to simply multiply this 4,000 to 4 and 4,000 to 3. So 4 for the 16. So 16,000 is the profit of A and 12,000 is the profit of B. So this one is A and this one is B. Okay. Now coming to the next question, which says A, B started a business with capitals of 30,000 and 20,000 respectively. After 10 months, A left the business. So A is staying in the business for only 10 months and the profit has been calculated for how many years? Profit has been calculated after 1.5 years. After 1.5 years, they have received a profit of 44,000. So 1.5 years is how many months? 1.5 years is equals to 18 months. So 1.5 years is 18 months. So let us see the investments and time periods. So the investment of A is how much here? Investment of A is 30,000 and the investment of B is how much? Investment of B is 20,000. So here there are 4 zeros common in both of them. So let us cancel them. 4 zeros, 4 zeros. And after 10 months A left. So A is staying in the business for 10 months and after 1.5 years they have calculated the profit. Now here B has stayed in the business from the start till the end. So B is staying in the business for total of 18 months. So the profit sharing ratio is equals to 3 multiplied by 10 ratio 2 multiplied by 8. Okay. Now 2 ones, 2 fives 10, 3 6 are 18. So 5:6 is our profit sharing ratio. So profit sharing ratio is 5:6. The total ratios are here 11 ratios. If 11 ratios represents 44,000, then one ratio will be 4,000. So what we have to do, we have to multiply this 4,000 to both of these ratios. Then we are getting our answer. So 5 into 4, which is 20,000. So A is getting 20,000 as profit and 6 for the 24,000 and B is getting 24,000 as his profit. Okay. Now coming to the next question, which says A, comma B started a business with capitals of 20,000 and 30,000 respectively. So investments A, B. A has invested 20,000 and B has invested 30,000. Next, after 6 months, B left from the business. So after 6 months, B is leaving. So the time period of B is only 6 months because he has stayed in the business for 6 months. And after 6 months, B has left from the business. And at the same time, at that particular time, C has entered into the business. So at that particular time, C has entered into this business with a capital of how much? With a capital of 40,000. So he has entered with a capital of 40,000 now, and they have received a profit of 66,000 at the end of the year. So they have received how much profit? 66,000. So let us see here. B has stayed in the business for 6 months. Now C has entered the business after 6 months. So a year has total of 12 months, but C has not been in the first 6 months. After 6 months he is entering. So C is staying in the business for how many months? Only 6 months. So 6. But A is staying in the business from start till end. So 4 zeros, 4 zeros, 4 zeros get cancelled. And in this same way, we can also cancel any common values in time values also. So 6 ones are 6, 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 2. So our profit sharing ratio is equals to 2 multiplied by 2, ratio 3 multiplied by 1, ratio 4 multiplied by 1. So what I have done here, I have simply cancelled any common values in investment. In the same way, I have cancelled any common values in time. So I am left with 4:3:4. So 4:3:4 is the profit sharing ratio of A, B and C. So there are how many total ratios? 4, 3, 7, 7 plus 4 is 11. So 11 ratios is equals to 66,000. Our total profit is 66,000. Then one ratio is how much? 6,000. So one ratio is 6,000. Then 4 into 6, 4 6 are 24,000. So A is getting 24,000 and B is getting how much? 4 6 into 3, 18,000 and C is getting 24,000. In our question, what did he ask? He has asked for the shares of A, B, C. So A is getting 24,000, B is getting 18,000, and C is getting also 24,000. Okay. Now coming to the next question. Three partners A, B, and C started a business. Then twice of A's capital is equals to thrice of B's capital. So let us assume the capitals of A, B, and C as A, B, C itself. They are investing A rupees, B rupees, and C rupees respectively. Now twice of A's capital, he is saying 2 times of A is equals to 3 times of 2A is equals to 3. Then A by B is A by B is how much? 3 upon 2. Then I can say that A ratio B is equals to 3 ratio 2. A ratio B is what? 3 ratio 2. Now, in the same way, B's capital is 4 times C's capital. So he is saying B's capital, the B's capital is B rupees, is equals to 4 times of C's capital, which is C. Then B upon C is equals to 4 by 1. So B ratio C is equals to 4 ratio 1. Now we know A ratio B and B ratio C. After knowing this, what we have to do? We have to combine both of these ratios. So what we have to do? We have to combine them. So combining the ratio, A ratio B and B ratio C, 3 ratio 2, 4 ratio 1. After combining this, I am getting the values of A, B, C as 4 3s are 12, 2 4s are 8, 2 1s are 2. Okay, 4 3s 12, 4 2s are 8, and 2 1s are 2. So the combined ratio is 12 ratio 8 ratio 2. Or I can simply cancel this. 2 1s are 2, 2 4s are 8, 2 6s are 2. So A ratio B ratio C is equals to 6 ratio 4 ratio 1. So we have combined these ratios. Now what is he asking? So out of a total profit of 16,500 at the end of the year, so they are receiving how much profit? They are receiving 16,500 rupees. Now here the total ratio is how much? 6 plus 4 is 10, 10 plus 1 is 11. So they are receiving 11 ratios. So the total ratio is 11 ratios, but the value is 16,500. Then 1 ratio is equals to 16,500 by 11. So I am getting 1500 as my value. So 1 ratio is 1500. Now what I have to find? I have to find the share of B. So B is getting how many ratios? B is getting 4 ratios. So 4R. I know the R value. R value is 15. So 15 for the 16. So the share of B is rupees 6,000. Okay. Now coming to the next question. This question says the ratio of investments of A and B in a business is 5 ratio 3. So the ratio of their investments are in the ratio 5 ratio 3. So investment ratios of A and B is 5 ratio 3. So the investments are in the ratio 5 ratio 3. Let us take the investments of A and B as, so A is investing 5 rupees and B is also investing 3 rupees. So we are maintaining the ratios here. In the same way, here the time periods of A and B is given as follows: 9 ratio 15. The time ratio of A and B is 9 ratio 15. So let us take A has stayed in the business for 9 months and B has stayed in the business for 15 months. So what I am doing, I am assuming the values of A, B myself and maintaining that particular ratio. So let us find the profit sharing ratio now. So profit sharing ratio is equals to investment multiplied by time. Investments of A and B are 5 and 3 and time period of A is 9, time period of B is 15. So profit sharing ratio is equals to 5 multiplied by 9 ratio 3 multiplied by 15. 3 3s are 9, 5 3s are 15. 15 gets cancelled. So the profit sharing ratio is 1 ratio 1. So in this question he has asked for the profit sharing ratio. The profit sharing ratio is 1 ratio 1. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video and have a great day.